Welcome back, everybody. Episode 22 of the RT Machine podcast here on this lovely Friday. Let's go around and tell you who's in the room as another part of our Getting to Know the Crew series. To my left,
John Bradford. I do the Oliver parts with Straitoplane Machine.
Nate Bogart. I'm a service tech on the road.
been on the show before.
Yep, Ron's here.
Dean's here.
Yeah, this will be my first time.
Yep.
So who are you? What are you doing here?
Well, right now I do all of the Straitoplane Machine stuff. So that's all the Oliver machinery, like day-to-day operations for it. All the organization, selling stuff, answering phones, maintaining our inventory, whatnot.
What's your background?
Storied. I was a jail guard, police officer, framed houses, and then I grew up with Derek. And
That's Derek Trailing, everybody.
yeah.
Yep.
And I started working remotely doing like inside sales for parts. And
You're in Pittsburgh, I think. Right?
yeah, like Greensburg area. It's like
Okay.
45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then he called me one morning and was like, "Hey, we're thinking about doing this. Do you want to run it?" I was like, "Yeah, that sounds cool."
So when we were buying Straitoplane?
Yeah, when it was in the discussion. And eventually he was like, "Well, you'd have to move here because you can't really do this all remotely." And Ashley got up for work. She was working at 911 at the time. I was like a call taker. And I was like, "Hey, you want to move to Williamsport?" She's like, "I need coffee first. Let's talk about this later." So it was like first thing when she woke up. And
It's a mild reaction from
yeah, yeah. And we talked about it a little bit later, and she was like, "Yeah, like I've kind of always wanted to get out of my hometown." And we moved out here.
She was from there?
Yeah, she was originally from. I'm originally from Harrisburg,
Right,
so it's
right.
not far from here.
Right.
And yeah, moved out here about a couple months later. I think it was like January 6th.
To lovely Hughesville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well, Williamsport.
Yeah, oh, you live
Yeah,
in
I live it right in Williamsport there.
Okay.
I went to LICO right there, so
So you know it all.
yep, familiar with the area, how to get back home and everything. I did the drive down 15 a lot, and kind of just been learning as I go because I was kind of new to the machinery game.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, a saw was a saw, but now I know things.
Different variations.
Yeah, that and just kind of learning, like when I was just doing parts here before we actually brought everything from Grand Rapids out here to Hughesville. I was just kind of getting to know machines, kind of doing it remotely. When I was doing parts and stuff, it always helped if someone like walked me through it. Hey, here's a sensor that I need. Well, what's the sensor do? What's it on? Kind of deal. Learned a lot really quick. So I'm still learning a bunch
You seem
of
to
things.
take
So
into the Oliver stuff really, really fast.
for whatever reason, I have a good mind for part numbers.
Yeah, I don't have to call Rich very often anymore. I can
No.
actually ask John questions and he knows the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
It helps when we get machines in. So like all the Straitoplanes, all the double-sided surfacers, those I know pretty well. One, Nate's here to walk me through stuff if I have questions.
Right.
And two, I can just go walk down the shop and
Look at the machine.
look at the machine, kind of not just look at a print, because, I mean, we have prints from 1906 to 99, something like that.
We took everything, right? We got it all.
Yep. Anything that Rich had, we took.
Right. Yeah.
From patterns to castings he already had made that need machined. All the prints, old parts lists, documentation. Like, I mean, I can look up the original sales receipts
Yeah.
for each of the machines, like if you would call and say, "Hey, I have this machine. Here's the serial number. I need this part. It's on this section of the machine." And everyone kind of calls all the parts, whatever they want to call them.
Yeah, right. They make up their own.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, it's the X, Y, or Z on this, and it's on like the front of the machine. Okay, I'll pull that sales receipt out, which will tell me kind of like the age of. It'll tell me the age of machine, who bought it, sometimes how much it was way back when, which is staggering to the price it would be now. Every once in a while, I look it up and I'm like, Jesus.
It's always really interesting to look at.
Yeah, for sure.
And from there, kind of just find the parts list, and then you got to pull the parts list out. And it's multiple sheets of paper that you have one like master. It's like the machine summary. Then you find the section of the machine you are trying to find a part on, which is not always the easiest thing. And then you pull that list out, and then you go through. And it helps if you know the machine a little bit to find the part, because it's just like, I don't know, hex bolt. Okay, how many of those are on the machine? You know?
Right.
And from there, it kind of tells you like what it's used with. So it'll list another part number, which is typically on the same list. And you kind of have to parse it out from there. So sometimes it's a work in progress as you go through it.
And each machine has that.
Every machine they made, it's almost the same process.
Sometimes I wondered why it took him so long to find parts, and then I knew why.
Then he was up there a couple times with me looking for stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when Rich initially walked us through the process. I'm like, good Lord, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you find out from this drawer, you figure out where you need to look in that drawer.
Yeah, and then
that's exactly what it was.
And then if you need to, so if it's like an old style 170, which is their 36-inch double-sided surfacer, the old style and the new style are almost completely different. They have the same typical layout of a planer, but the parts are almost all different.
The castings are totally different.
Yeah, and then like if I need a chip breaker on a new style 170, well, how old is it? Because they change the style, like the design of the part throughout to make it one.
Even in the new style, it's been changed.
Yeah.
So I think the original part number for the chip breaker on a new style 170 is like a 2070 520. Well, the part number for it now is 0585. So you have to I find that part number. It's that original one. And then I go to find a print. And on the print, it'll say superseded by. Go pull another print. Sometimes it says superseded by. And then you go find another print.
Wow.
And you're like, man, I got it now. And then sometimes you run into not interchangeables. So it takes a lot longer than people would think or realize, mainly because it's not all digitized.
All right.
So I got to put my hands on an actual physical copy of a parts list, of a print.
You're not just sitting there clicking a mouse.
No, not all the time. Rich scanned in a bunch of stuff
He was drawing them too.
He would
when he got bored.
Yeah, he would redraw some stuff.
In CAD?
Yeah, like an AutoCAD.
Oh, okay.
So like I have digital drawings for the newer stuff, but most of it I just tend to pull out the original prints. I've been scanning them in as I go, so I don't never have to pull that print again. And then like I've been scanning in like cross sections of machines for manuals, and he had a lot of that done. I've just been redoing it because some of them were like copies of copies, so they get a little faded and over time, and each time you scan it, it's not as good. So
that's right.
It's a lot of work, and then not talk about like the organization of the parts and maintaining stock and inventory and stuff like that. Oftentimes I come in here and there's a lot that I'm doing interchangeably.
Are we still buying a lot of parts from his same resources out in Michigan, or?
There are some. I mean, we just re-upped our inventory of the cushions for the sectional rolls on a lot of the planers. And those I went to whoever he had listed. I think it was like Monroe Seals.
Okay.
Because they already had like done them semi-recently. I think it was like in 2010 was the last time they were made or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And they still had all the tooling and they had a print already, so they could quote it fast.
Right.
So, I mean, they just came in. They did a great job. They look exactly like the ones we had. But I find a lot of new vendors for things because there's a lot of companies that aren't around anymore from 1975. So,
Yeah, right.
Some people can get it done faster than others.
yeah. Yep.
Well, and if we get it done locally, we save that freight to bring
Yeah.
parts.
Well, that
in
too.
here. We're doing some stuff ourselves in the machine shop.
A lot of the machining, there are some stuff that is just easier for someone else to do. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of the price and the problem I have is quantity. A lot of these parts aren't going to sit on our shelf for a little bit. So like I have to weigh how much I'm getting versus
how long you're going to
how long I'm going to sit on it. And then obviously if you're making 200 pieces of a part, they're cheaper per part because your setup cost is spread over all of them.
Correct.
But oftentimes I'm not buying 200 pieces of a part. I'm buying 5 or 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that'll, I mean, we just made, I forget what we made, but I made 10 pieces of it. I think it was like a spring for a lathe, for like a 159 or a 2159 lathe. And I made 25 of them because that brought my price point into a pretty decent number. I'll probably never make them again. Mm-hmm. You know,
got enough for the rest of the
you know,
to the end of time.
They will get used eventually. Someone will buy them. They will need it. It's an integral part of like the speed feed change. And but I'll sit on them for a little bit.
Right.
So
Talking about the price differences, this one's not even that old, but the last Straitoplane that we sold, it was built in 1983. Originally sold to the Navy, and actually went to Hawaii. Do you know that?
I don't know if I knew Hawaii. I got that from. I don't remember Hawaii, but I knew. It
what's
went to the
the
Navy.
serial number? Is that the 666 number?
Yeah,
Yeah, 2666.
yeah, 4 sixes.
4 sixes.
Just to
All
make
right,
it
sorry.
not satanic, there's another 6. Yeah, that one was 104,000, which is actually pretty expensive for one of those things back then.
That one was a fancy one, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it had a bunch of different like upgrades on
And
it.
14-inch capacity.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
it
that's
was.
right,
That one raises an extra 2 inches.
Yeah, but yeah,
But this one?
yeah,
Yeah, it's sitting right out there.
yeah,
Yeah, that
that's
one.
the one that's 20 feet from us right
They
now.
also, I think there was a conveyor in feed on that
Okay.
one.
But yeah, we sold it for in the 140 range, rebuilt. It's going to Canada actually, but
Yeah.
yeah. So oftentimes when we sell them rebuilt, they're more than double the price that they were sold new back in the day.
Yeah, but if you'd look up what 104 was then
Yeah,
versus
right.
now,
It's like saying my Trans Am was $3,500 when it was sold new.
yeah.
So
But
it's so fun to look at the old the birth certificates, you call them. But
yeah, that's what those are up on our website now. We got the website back up and running. Not as many things are on it right now.
yeah, talk about that fun.
So our software that we were using, that was linked to the website,
Straitoplane.com.
the software. So like my inventory software was linked to it, and then it would just kind of automatically take some things off when someone would buy it online, and they would communicate with each other. Well, that company said we're not doing it anymore. You have to go to like another software version, which didn't communicate with the website. So we had to take everything off the website, get the new software, put all of our inventory onto that software, correct a bunch of things because not all the information transferred over when we started using the new software, prices, descriptions. I'm kind of anal about how they're like labeled, so I have to label it a certain way in there or else it bothers me. So we had to delete everything off the website and then figure out how to make them communicate. And then eventually they started communicating, and eventually we got everything up and running. So right now it's just the commonly sold parts that you would get online. So a lot of people know the carbide for their like Model 299 and the Straitoplanes. They're different. It's just a little locator pin, but those we sold a lot of online because people know what it is. They know how many they need. They just order it and it comes to me. But we're slowly getting more and more on to the website. So we have to like upload it, link it. Then I have to go in there and kind of put a description in. Hey, it's used on these machines, so people kind of know what they're buying. Get a picture on there. Then you have to link the weights and measurements for shipping, and then you got to make the shipping communicate with everything. And it's a lot more involved than I thought it was.
Yeah, it sucks because you're doing it for the second time because you put a shitload of work in up front.
Yeah,
We did not really inherit a website from Rich.
Rich had a website, but it was I think
it was DOS based.
Yeah, what's that?
I don't even know what that is. But he had some pictures up, and I don't think you could actually buy anything.
No,
on
I don't
his
think he
website.
had
It was more like a
e-commerce.
reference tool for when people called in. But we wanted, our generation doesn't like to talk to people on the phone.
Yeah.
And if they can just buy it online without talking to anybody, they would rather do that than talk to somebody. So at least that was like how Derek kind of looked at it, and it makes sense to me. So if I can order something online without calling somebody, I do. That, and you can kind of get pictures up on stuff, and people can look at it and use it as a tool. Well, some people call in and say, "Hey, is this the part that I need?"
Yeah, but at least you had a reference.
Yeah, and
Something to go off.
so like it was kind of took a while to take off the website when we originally did it because one, people got to figure out what your new name is, and are you like is this website legit? Is it trustworthy? Someone going to steal all my information off of it and stuff like that. And then it's just started rolling. People were using it, buying stuff off of it, which was nice because it takes me talking to someone off on the phone, frees up my time. So like it was doing real well, and then we ran into that kind of snafu with the software. But we're getting there. I know Bree had a lot of time, and that she takes pictures of everything, uploads them, makes them communicate, and then I just kind of come in and add some descriptions and change the way some stuff is laid out. And I kind of know what these parts are, and she's just like, "Oh, this is a metal part."
Yeah.
So, but she's been real helpful with that. There wouldn't be a website without her, so I know that I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
So,
How are most people finding you? Through the old Oliver phone number, or they're Googling it, or what?
Yep. People will call, typically, if they don't know about us already or knew about Rich, they just bought a new Oliver, like a new to them Oliver machine.
Right.
Well, where can I get parts for this? They'll Google it, and they'll see that Oliver machinery is still around. And
Except it's the
that is
Taiwanese.
that is the new Oliver machine.
Right. I see. We were getting quite a few referred from them.
Yeah, they. I talked to them, and they would refer people to Rich all the time, and then they just started referring people to me or to Ashley, and then Ashley gives me the phone call.
Right.
And then, so a lot of it comes from like that kind of thing. Now that our website's up and running, people will be able to Google us or Straitoplane or Oliver Part. I believe it comes up in the description of the website or something like that, and all our stuff's there. And then we kept Rich's phone number for Eagle Machinery.
Right.
Just so many people knew it already. I mean, hell, he was doing it for over 40 years. So
Right.
a lot of people have that number, so we kept that number.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
people ask me all the time, whatever happened to Rich? I say, oh, he's still around.
He's retired. I'm not really sure how the whole thing about us acquiring it came out, or like to be. I know we were redoing a couple machines.
Yeah, I think so. We were buying. I don't know who was buying parts at the time.
I called him to ask him for parts. And he's like, why don't you guys just buy everything?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So it started out as like
It's
a joke.
literally basically how it
Said
went.
we were his biggest customer.
Yeah.
We
The
might
most
just buy.
organic acquisition ever.
Yeah.
He's
And
like,
then-
why don't you guys just buy me out? I can retire. I'm like,
I think
seriously?
Derek and I were up there like the next week.
Yeah, I didn't. The first I heard about it was when Derek called and asked me to run it, and hey, you'll have to move. So But it's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
Learned a lot. I really enjoy it though.
That's good. I know you've doubled his sales, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it helps from you guys doing reconditions and
Right.
get machines and stuff like that for the service company. But yeah, it seems like we're doing more volume of sales. And it helps that we have a service company that goes out and works on them too.
Yeah. Yeah, which he didn't have any of that.
I think he did at one point.
Oh, yeah?
I know he was building machines,
Yeah, I think Rich would go out on service calls sometimes.
mostly with people that he knew, I think, or they were like semi-local to the. I mean, it's Michigan. It's a Michigan-based company,
Right.
at least when it was around. So I imagine they have the most there.
Yeah.
So,
It's hard to say.
but yeah,
Which we hope to have Rich on the podcast one of these days.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in before.
yeah, he was supposed to come out, but he had a medical thing come up, and he gave me a call a couple of days, like I think a day or two before he was supposed to come out, because he was going to come help us with. We got all the fixtures to machine all the castings and parts like that. And with modern machining, you don't need all that fixturing anymore. So we were going to get rid of some because we got about, I don't know, like quite literally 6 tons of fixtures sitting in crates, taking up space. And none of them are light. Even the small ones are heavy. So
Yeah.
I started going through some of those and getting rid of what I can and holding on to the ones that I think are useful or important. So
He was going to help you with that, determining what.
yeah,
he-
every once in a while I'll run into something and I'll call him, hey, I don't know which way's up. And the amount of information that he still remembers. Hey, go to this book. It should be next to this. And sometimes he'll rattle a number off.
Wow.
And it'll be right.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's like our Joe Rogers. You know, they're just an encyclopedia of knowledge that's useless to most people.
Right.
Super helpful
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah.
Did you pull the patterns out of that attic at the storage unit? Was that your deal or?
No. That was up in I think it's like an hour and a half north in
Yeah.
White Cloud.
Yeah.
Zach was that Zach?
Yeah, Zach.
Oh.
Andy went out once.
Okay.
Zach Little was out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was Zach. He was bitching to me about that.
I
Got the
pulled
forklift stuck 3 or 4 times in the
everything sand up there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not paved at all. Yeah.
I think we ended up taking what's that little front end, that little
skid loader.
Bobcat, skid loader out, and that made a big difference because we made some forks for the front of that. But yeah, there was a lot of that Bobcat pulled a couple forklifts out from being stuck.
Yeah. Their family owned a storage unit still owns a storage unit up there, and that's where the stuff was that he didn't have to access that often because Rich didn't have very much space in the GR location.
That building probably raised a solid foot
Yeah.
when we took everything
Exactly.
out of their what is that, Coopersville, just
Yeah.
outside of Grand Rapids. I did a lot of the inventorying of that. Mm-hmm. And then when I went up there I think I went up there a total of 2 weeks. 1 week to learn how to look stuff up, at least briefly, and then another to go actually inventory stuff. And then we loaded up a bunch of things while I was there. Turned into building boxes, all the Straitoplane crates that we have.
You built all those?
I built every single one of those up there.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep. So it was it's quite a process to move the amount of stuff. I don't even know how many tractor trailer full.
Yeah, I don't know.
And we had our little it was the rigging trailer that was filled with pallets, and we kind of just were shoving stuff into wherever it would fit and go, and
Yeah.
moved it all.
I spent a week with Derek up there just loading flatbeds. Those boxes that you're talking about are, I don't know, a couple feet high, and we'd stack them up as high as the driver would let us.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, they turned out to be the best way to do it. Is build on the boxes, but the amount of stuff he had was just staggering.
Yeah, and we moved it in the winter in Grand Rapids. Lake effect snow flying through.
It wasn't too bad when I was up there.
It was bad when I was there. The parking lot was an ice rink. It is not flat. his forklift is not great.
I think we ended up bringing that one back, and I don't know what we did. He kept one. And we took one.
Yeah, we must have. I think Derek sold it on like Facebook Marketplace.
Something like that. Yeah.
we
I do
sold it
remember
to a
that
beer
guy.
distributor.
Really?
At least it's doing the Lord's work.
Yep.
It's such an RT thing to do.
There you go.
But I mean, it's just
He
been
probably sold it for store credit.
yeah, right. Couple pallets of Miller
Makes
Lite
sense. Yeah.
hanging out back. But yeah, I mean, it's been interesting to say the least. And then we just finally got all the patterns organized and put away. I mean, he had a lot of inventory of parts already that we brought back, and then we had to find a place for those, and then we had to put them away, then we had to inventory them. I'm still organizing stuff to my liking rather than the way he had it. Just his shelving was different than ours. So, like, there's some commonly sold things that are on the top of a shelf that I need a ladder to get to that I'm moving. And
Yeah, right.
Yep. One of the sales guys today asked us, like, is Bradford, like, is that really a full-time job? Is he just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring? It's like, no, he stays pretty busy.
Yeah.
there's not many days where I don't get a phone call. And they last anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to an hour. Because sometimes people like to shoot the shit a little bit. And,
They love their Oliver machines,
oh, man,
don't they?
it's like a cult.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Then you talk the language, their parts and stuff.
Yeah.
They want to go nuts with you. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'm kind of being a bullshitter, but a lot of it, that now more than ever, I am actually knowing what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I mean, still, there's some of his customers that he had that are really good with like the 299 planers. And I've called one of them once and asked them a question. You know, I'm not above trying to ask people that know more than me.
Why
for help,
not? Yeah.
You know,
I'm sure they love it too.
yeah. I mean, there's one guy. I think he has like 21 Oliver machines,
Wow.
and he's like restored them, like museum quality restorations on these things, fresh paint, original parts. I think he has a machine shop too. So anything that like I don't have in inventory, he's like, I'll just make it. Because he has like a broken one or something, and he just makes a new one. He's chrome plated machines, like. So, I think he does some like hobby woodwork, but most of his hobby is redoing the machine.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And to what? To sell them, use them, or just?
No, he keeps them all.
Oh wow.
The one table saw he had, there was only like 8 made, and it's got like special clamping mechanisms, and I made the manual for that, and that took me a while. Running through all the different, like, because for a special machine, it has its own special parts list, and then it'll reference a drawing on it that is like for like the assembly drawing. So you got to go find all that to make a special manual for it.
See.
So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool doing that one. I've done a lot of manuals for him.
And you have to build the manual. It's not like you have one you make a copy of. You have to.
Rich had some. He had a lot done. But each machine has a manual for the different, technically a different, like, so, like the 170, like it started at 170 summary 30, and then it went to summary 60, 65, and then it just kept going up and up. So technically there's a manual for each of those summaries. Sometimes they overlap very well, or they didn't change at all. But when the machine underwent some type of drastic change or design, there's a new manual. So there's multiple manuals for the model of machine.
Wow.
And he had a lot of them done. So like the Straitoplane ones, I'm running off of Rich's. Like his were great. He had them all there, but sometimes he would only have one particular age of machine manual for an 88 table saw. Well, the 88 had like 10 different models. So, and I mean, mainly they redesigned like the guard cover on that.
Yeah.
So that's different throughout like all the ages. So, but yeah, if it doesn't exist, I made it.
Maybe help people understand why we charge for them. It's not like just run it through a copy machine in 2 minutes.
Well, what I started doing now is I literally, so Like I think the most recent one I did was like for a 287 shaper, and I went through and literally pulled out every single assembly drawing, and then with my Apple phone, I did a note scan, because there's no scanner that can get to the size of the E-size drawings that we have. That are I don't know, they're almost like, I think they're like 2x4 or something like that. They're pretty big, maybe not that big, but. So I figured out that my phone does a pretty decent job of scanning them. So I scan them in, and then I email them to myself from my phone. Then I store them, and then I edit them to make them, because these drawings are really old and some of them are battered.
Oh.
So I've edited some of them, just kind of cleaned them up a little bit. If the part numbers are, you can't read them because my scan just isn't good enough, I'll re-put them in with like a text.
Okay.
So I started doing that for every manual that I make now. So any 287 assembly drawing I have scanned in now. So to make the next one, it'll take me a fraction of the time. I think that took me a total of, I don't know, maybe 3 hours spread over 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Just because I have to drop it and go sell parts sometimes.
Sure.
Organize or grab something, or, So everything is a process. Sooner or later, I'll have the majority of it done, and it'll be easy.
Yeah.
Keep telling yourself that, buddy.
Yeah. It's going to take years.
I was going to say it's going to be a long time, but
I'm getting better. I'm a lot more organized than when we started, just in terms of knowing where things are, understanding the machines, remembering part numbers, stuff like that. So
yeah. No, I hear good things, so people are happy.
I hope so.
They know where to get the parts.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Somebody answers the phone and calls them back.
Sometimes that is probably the one thing I struggle with the most, because I'll be in the middle of something, and the way my mind works is that's what I'm doing. And if I get pulled off of that to do something else, I forget where I was or what I was doing. So sometimes I'm not great on the phones. But we have a cell phone now that I give to one of the gals upstairs, and then they'll at least answer it, take a message, and then get it to me. So we've been doing that. That's been working out a lot better. But still, sometimes I'm one guy, so I'm trying to do 10 different things a day. The phones kind of take a little backseat, but we've been getting better at that. It's hard to sell parts if you don't talk to people. So
Yeah. Well, and that's what that business is for. So
yeah.
No, I guess we have the patterns that we could actually make a machine if we wanted to, but
some of the body, I think for like a 299, we can make a 299. I think we still have the pattern for the frame on that. And I imagine
cost if you
poured
that casting and
then you got to machine it.
Yeah, you machined everything.
One, you got to have a machine big enough, and if you don't, you got to find someone that does.
Right.
So, but we have all the drawings. We could.
Would be interesting to do it sometime.
If we were ever going to start with building a machine or manufacturing a machine, I would start with a lathe. Simple, easy. Yeah. They're not all that complex until you get into the really, really big ones. But like the 159 or the 2159, I think that would be a solid starting point. But
yeah, well, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
No, we've talked about it a lot and assume we might give it a shot someday. But we're busy enough as it is, and we got a bit of a space issue around here. So.
Yeah, right.
Space is always the issue.
Oh, yeah, crazy around here.
The amount of times that I've moved something to get it out of the way just to move it again and again and again.
Yep.
I'm sure you guys are happy that I'm getting a little bit more organized.
Yeah. How many containers do you have outside now?
There's 2 filled with patterns, which we ran into issue with that with condensation on the metal machine. So we got dehumidifiers in there now and a heater to keep the dehumidifiers running. That just happened this week. So we don't want those patterns going bad, because a lot of those patterns that we still have are used. But now I'm on to the fixtures and all of the tooling that he had from however many years. I mean, the amount of drill bits we have in this building.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you ever threw any away.
Well, a lot of them are specialty tooling for a particular part.
But they weren't organized at all.
He had them organized per part.
In his head, probably.
Yeah.
Well,
He knew which one to use.
some of the boxes that I found, I think either they were the like a Ziploc bag filled with different taps, drills, and reamers, and those are for a particular part. Well, we're just going to separate them into taps and drills and put them all away. But there's some tooling that is like a special order tooling for like a special reamer for this particularly sized hole.
Is that right?
So hell, I know what a number 18 Morse taper reamer looks like now and how big it is because it's gigantic. We have one. So to buy one of those, I imagine would be a pretty penny.
Yeah.
But we have one now. So there's a lot of tooling that is just like a lot of mandrels now that we have that are just, that was for like mass manufacturing. We're obviously not doing that. So like we can kind of throw some stuff away.
Right.
And then you got to hope that you're not throwing the important stuff away. So,
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
Better just keep it all.
yeah. So, now that, I'm actually I did a mill class at Penn Tech. So that's helping me learn what is needed and what isn't.
So you're milling like
Metal. Machining metal.
Machining metal. So
Yeah. Derek asked me if I wanted to go. I said, yeah, I'll go. That's interesting. And I actually have made a couple parts here now.
Okay.
Which helps Jake out, Jake, our machinist, because he's so inundated with stuff for the service company that he's one guy too. So he's in there getting machines operational and machining parts while he's at it. So it helps if I can go do a onesie-twosie thing on my own rather than have him take his time. That and I'm already paid for. So
we have the machine that we make our own feed rolls, the serrated.
Yeah, the hobber.
Is that what that's called?
Yep, that hobber is old, really old. The company that made it is still around, but they only have a 4-page manual on it. They don't know anything else about it. I tried. I called them.
Wow.
Is
there a better way to make those, or is that the?
There's newer hobbers.
Okay, so same.
Yeah, but we have all of the gears for the hobber.
And it works.
And it works. It's a little messy. Gets oil everywhere. But does the trick. And we really only use that particular machine for those sectional rolls. So it's set up for it, and that's what's on it. For like other types of gears and stuff, there's other ways to do it. I don't know how to do it. But I know that there's a way.
There's another way to do it. Oh, that's good. All right. Well, that's good. Good information.
Yeah.
And doing a good job with the company. So glad to have you on board.
Yeah. Trying.
Yeah. How long you been with us? It's been what?
Oh, when did we move here? 20.
You said
20.
January would be 22, right? 'Cause I think we purchased the company officially in October of 21.
So I would have been here the January after that. So January of 22 is when we moved out here.
Up here.
That's it.
I feel like it was 21.
January of 21.
I don't know.
Maybe I have my dates mixed.
Yeah,
that's more likely. But
They all run together after a while.
I don't know. It was short. If it was October of 21, then it was January of 22 when we got out
feels
here.
longer than that.
It does. But I was working remotely for, a year, I think?
Yeah, probably.
Something like that. So
We'll check the dates later.
It doesn't really matter.
in a short amount of time, I've learned a lot.
You've learned a
about
lot.
these
Yeah, very
machines
much.
and
Yeah.
hell, even other machines.
Yeah.
I know Nate does a lot with Newmans and any type of planer any other planer that there is, but a lot of it tends to be Newmans and Olivers. So
yeah, that's our mainstay is those two machines.
Yep.
Yeah, there's 3 of them out in the shop.
Yeah, I was gonna
right
say
now
that.
that we're
Right? You
looking
look
at.
out there right now. There's 2 Olivers and a Newman.
It's become a very integral part of the business for all 3 companies.
Yeah, that's for sure. Nate was telling us he's got a Newman planer that doesn't like being cold.
Does not like working in the cold. I can't blame it.
you tend to agree, huh?
Yeah, runs fine all summer long, no issues. As soon as it gets down freezing temperatures, doesn't feed. Cannot figure out why.
That's very odd.
I thought maybe that once it got cold, like the metal would shrink a little bit and free it up and give a poor product, but it just does not feed, which is so weird. And
now, are they changing their oil in their gearbox for the temperature?
The boards actually get stuck in the feed and everything works. It's the board actually getting stuck.
So it's the product that has an issue with the cold.
It could be, but it feeds through and then stops in like right after it hits the cutter heads. Like the pressure plates and everything do not like the cold and they don't react well or something. I don't know. Going out Monday to try to fix it again.
Wow.
So
this is not the first year it's been an issue.
No, it's pretty much every year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at least the last 2 or 3 that I can remember.
They adding heat to it. That solved their
he's
problem.
Talking about putting. They have heat in the building somewhat, but there's two massive overhead doors that are open all day long, and it's not a fully insulated building, so they're putting a direct heat above the machine, hopefully to figure this out.
Machine might get its own insulated room.
Yeah,
I know there's quite a few people that you've gone and helped with their planers, that the planer actually sits outside.
Yeah, planers for some reason are like hated. They don't get to be inside. They're outside.
A lot of them.
No walls, and California, they didn't have any walls in their building.
Yeah, it never rains in Southern California.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one auction sale I went to, it was like a whole molding shop, and it was just like a pole barn, but no walls.
Yep.
Yeah, they do that out there.
You can get away with that in Pennsylvania.
No, you wouldn't want to be like that here. Get some of that blowing snow right through there in the wintertime. It'd be fun.
Yeah, they had to cover all their machines if it did rain because everything just would rust.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you were down to the Harlan install. We've talked about that several times on the podcast. It's finally left here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I guess you were down there for a week, you said.
2 weeks ago, I was down there for the week. Everything, at that time, everything was installed, in line, ready to go. They were just working through some program issues that the customer wanted changed, and waiting on some more stuff to come to finish scaffolding and a couple more pieces. And to tear their old machine out to be able to install the outfeed for the new machine because the building was slightly smaller than everyone realized.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah,
slightly.
Yeah, I think there was like 5 feet that they needed, and they didn't have the space, something like that. Yeah.
Huh.
Surprising.
So they had to shut the machine down. Actually, I think Zach and Alan were down last week over Thanksgiving tearing it out because they were elected to not have to be home for Thanksgiving, so they tore it out over the holiday. Which kind of helped. It gave us a little bit more time to.
Customers probably down too at that.
Yeah, they were shut down.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I guess I imagine they were appreciative of that.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Yeah, they don't have to waste a couple more days of regular time, run time, to be able to get it out of their way.
And that went right on a scrap truck, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
So I know Bree said she was looking for a scrap truck.
Yep.
What was it? An older Harlan, or is it just another machine that was in its?
I don't think it was a Harlan.
I think it was an assembly of different machines to do the same thing, just a lot smaller and a lot slower. And they had to take a stack of lumber after it was laminated and put it into I don't even know what it was, like a homemade thing, and then roll it over to be able to pick it up to do the other side again.
Yeah, I knew it was a single-sided machine.
Yeah.
I know when they said something about whether we wanted it, and then he laughed, and when he was saying, do you want it? The guy from the customer, he was here with the runoff, and there was something came up about, did we want the old machine?
The old machine.
And he started laughing when he asked me if I wanted it. So
okay.
I knew what my answer was.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Kyle was freaking out. He's like, this thing really shouldn't be thrown away. He was texting Derek and I about it, and Derek was like, no, they said throw it away. We're going to throw it away.
Yeah, I'm pretty
When
sure
the customer says throw it away,
the day I got there,
it's a good sign.
they said, I think it was that day or the day before, the machine was actually on fire for a little while. Said, yeah, it happens every couple weeks.
Not the new one.
Jeez.
It's the
No,
old
the
one.
old one, yeah.
It's the old one that was on fire.
Yeah, they have to
Jeez.
shut down and figure out what's going on. Like, I don't know if the oil gets too hot or something. They're not paying attention. But
You sell it to the customer with the Newman and put it next to it and keep it warm.
there you go.
Just blow a fan across that and heat up his Newman planer.
Yeah, that thing was impressive, though. When it came in and when it went out, there was a lot more to that machine than I knew because we only had the main sections in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't even get all the stuff. They had to build the
Yeah, they
build
they fabricated a bunch of that.
Yeah, the catwalk. We didn't have all the catwalk.
Mm-hmm.
Built a lot of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot that went into that one, and it went surprisingly smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pretty much stayed on schedule.
Yeah, learned
That's-
some stuff from some previous big projects that the service company had here, and
I think the main things that were supply issues that slowed us down on some things.
I
Getting
think there was-
certain
I know there were some
specialty parts we couldn't
the
get.
heaters. That was a process that I'm aware of. I didn't handle it, but to find someone to manufacture those,
Right.
because the ones that were on it weren't obviously made anymore, and I think the company that made them weren't around anymore. So we had those specially made, I think.
Yeah, Eric, weren't you going to go to Canada to pick those
Yeah,
up?
they were made in Canada.
Yeah,
At one
'cause
point,
we,
he was going to go because he's the only one that had
Getting
a
ready to
passport or something.
I mean, I had one. I volunteered myself, but I was like, "Yeah, I'll take a day and drive up there." You know?
Yeah, because the company was, I don't know, we didn't love what we were hearing from them, so we wanted, instead of waiting for them to ship them, we wanted to go lay eyes on them and pick them up. But, yeah.
But they ended up shipping them, right?
Yeah, well, my truck, the bed's not long enough, so they were going to be sticking out, which Derek didn't love.
Yeah.
No, those. What are they made of? Ceramic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine they're pretty brittle.
Yeah, I don't think you want them bouncing around too much and exposed. But it worked out. We got it. It's out of here. And hopefully, if everything goes right, the other one will be coming in soon. So
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one.
yeah, there's another one out in the warehouse.
Yeah, I knew there was one out there. Is that on the slate?
Yeah, we got part of the deposit, but we didn't get enough to start working on it yet. So
We haven't gotten enough to move it out of the warehouse.
Yeah. I think we did a few things that we could get started with what they sent us. I
Yeah.
think, but no, I was supposed to have it last week, and I was supposed to have it this week, and I still don't have it. So, but that just happened.
This one that we're going to be doing is not as encompassing as this one we just did.
The one we have, the one that we're going to be doing, has more with it. It already has an in-feed.
Oh, okay.
It has all the catwalk. So there's not quite as much, and we're not putting that gap control on it.
Yeah, not quite as animated as the other one.
Yeah.
Automated, not animated.
Yeah. So it's a little different, but it'll take up the same amount of space when it's all in
Yeah.
here. It's a huge piece of equipment. So
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that when it got here. I was like, "What the hell am I looking at?" I don't even know what this thing does,
yeah.
let alone its size.
It's a good conversation piece walking through the warehouse. Everybody's
Yeah.
like, "What is that?"
I think you explain it, and most people still don't get it.
Yeah, if you tell them it's a high-speed paper laminator, it's like,
Yeah, once you
Okay.
see it, figure
That
out
still
what
doesn't
actually
mean
comes
the
out
most
of
to
it.
me.
yeah,
so-
you really have to see it run. Yeah, it'll be interesting when we get all the videos and stuff.
I
like
mean,
that.
I saw it run, and I still don't 100% understand what some of the sections of it do.
Yeah, there's a lot going on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. So the other thing we want to talk about, Eric and I were out yesterday, and we went to Grand Rapids, Michigan, to Scarlett Machinery, good friends of ours, and they're talking about getting us into selling equipment for cutting aluminum. So they've been doing it for quite a while. Actually, import the machines from Turkey. But miter saws look like overgrown upcut saws that miter cut, and they have a CNC 5-axis machine there that was pretty slick, cutting holes and slots and boring.
Maybe we could get one of those for test out in the machine shop.
There you go.
Yeah, we
How
don't
much
do a ton
aluminum do you use out there?
we don't do a ton of extrusion work.
Yeah, not much.
Maybe
but
we would. But, I mean, we damn well better if we're gonna.
Yeah, when's a machine shop going to become its own company?
Yeah, exactly.
They also have a 3D printer there that prints metal parts.
a metal 3D printer.
Yeah, and they make parts
Wow.
for different companies.
Well, that's pretty
locally.
cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
They sell them to the printers, but they said they don't sell very many of them. Like you said something about $1 million. I don't know if that.
I can't imagine
That's
it'd be
cheap.
cheap.
I don't know why anybody would have.
Yeah, why wouldn't everybody have one?
Yeah.
But yeah, they had it sitting there and it had its own little area.
Yeah.
And they print parts up for people.
That's
There's a lot
cool.
of industry out there in Grand Rapids. It's amazing how many.
Yeah, there's still a lot up there.
Yeah.
Well, Oliver, when they were still around, they had metalworking machines. And I forget who got that one. When they dissolved Oliver in '99, they made bread slicers,
Really?
woodworking machines, and I think they had dust collection, smaller dust collectors.
They used to do
And-
sewing machines, right? Is that right?
I don't know. I can't remember if they did sewing or not, but they also had their metal department. And another company bought, I think it's B&O Saws, bought the rights to Oliver metalworking machines.
Oh, yeah?
And I think Oliver Products is the name of the company that bought the bread slicers. And they still make them. They still make the bread slicer as they bought it from Oliver.
I
Really?
gotta look
Yeah.
these up.
Yeah, if you
that
ever
up.
find an Oliver bread slicer, I forget the model number, but old ones I know that.
777.
Yeah, slicer. Yep,
Have you found it already?
Yeah.
yep. Oliver Products. They still make it off the original design that Oliver had, and I've gotten a few calls for them. Like,
People called you?
Yeah, because they're like, oh, they'll call Oliver.
Yeah, I thought we bought
They'll give them to Ashley or me, and then I'm like, what's the model and serial number? And they tell me the serial number of it, and I'm like, oh, that's an Oliver number, and I look it up, and I'm like, oh, that's a bread slicer. We don't have that. We just do the woodworking stuff.
So I didn't know that.
But if you find an old one, you should get it because they're still worth some money.
Oh, yeah?
Yep,
No kidding.
yep, they're still out there. Some guy bought one for his bakery for like $25 at a yard sale, and to buy the same thing new from Oliver Products, it was like staggering how much it was.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not cheap.
no,
They actually have their prices on their website.
Yeah.
How much is a bread slicer?
This one here is almost $10,000,
yeah,
No kidding.
and it's used.
yep,
A used one.
Yeah.
yeah.
How
you
big
can
of a
tell-
machine is it?
That's pretty good size.
Okay.
I don't know much.
That doesn't
about
look
it. I
like
just know that they-
$10,000.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the bread slicers, but I know they were made by Oliver at one point. Part of me thinks it was like during like the Depression they started doing it to kind of keep afloat. I think that's my most rational explanation for it. But they kept it going until the end, so apparently they were
amazing.
pretty good. But yeah, the metalworking saws they had, I think they still support parts for them from B&O saws.
Metalworking saw, like metalworking band saws, or
I mean the I don't think so much on the bandsaw because I mean I don't know that much about it, but I imagine the bandsaw you can change a blade on it.
yeah, I mean a lot of people.
I know there's some speed and
bandsaws.
feed stuff.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a table saw that they had? Don't we have a manual upstairs for a metal cutting table saw or something?
A lot of them. So if you have like the shapers, for instance, they made an M, so 287M or a TM, and that M is for the metalworking.
Huh.
So a lot of the parts are the same, but they had like a collet system in it, and I think they had some additional like hold down for the product or something like that.
I know a lot of the old company, like Madison, had a division made metalworking, and they had the woodworking.
Yeah,
side
some
as
of
well. So
some of their saws. I mean, there's some overlap between the two. A lot
Right.
of it is just the type of like blade you put on
Right.
speed
here, and
maybe put
yeah,
some lubrication on.
yeah. I know some of the metalworking shapers. The guy I made a manual for had a 287M, and so I got a little bit of the insight to that. Basically, the motor's different, and they spins at a different speed. Mm-hmm. The RPM's a little bit, I think, a little bit higher or lower. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, it was a lot lower, but
That's probably what it is.
yeah,
Well,
that's why we're
But that's
looking at
basically the only difference.
yeah. That's
But-
kind of why we're looking at this metalworking stuff. It's non-ferrous and kind of a crossover. I mean,
It's
like you
not
said,
that big
there's
of a jump.
a coolant on there and maybe run slower, but it's not that much different.
It's not extremely different.
I mean, it's still a machine.
Yeah.
You know.
It went a lot slower cutting that piece of aluminum than when we cut a piece of wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we're gonna, and plastic too. We should probably get into that industry. We've always just done woodworking because that's all I knew. So, so maybe some of these smarter guys can figure out the other stuff.
We're going to have to bring some new people in.
Well, I was hoping the same salesman. If he's driving right past a guy doing aluminum extrusions, you should stop and try to sell him this machine. So let's see what we can do with that.
And what's the like the name on the machine?
ATEC?
ATEC.
Yeah.
Which is their name. Like I guess there was a guy who was importing. There's a company in Turkey. I can't remember the name of that company.
It's called ATEC.
Okay, but it was originally. I thought the ATEC name was originally started by the guy here in the U.S.
That might be true, but
But they also use it over there now.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy in the U.S. Was working with Scarlett, and I guess he was looking to scale back, retire, and he said, "Why don't you just take me over?" And he was there. He was there helping out and stuff. He's their guy when they go to Turkey. He goes there. He's Turkish. He goes there with them, and so they've been doing it for quite a while. And
Isn't there some? Aren't you guys carrying newer, like another woodworking machine brand from there? Or is this what you were talking about?
No, we've looked at other stuff.
Okay.
The new stuff is
because I remember on one of the previous podcasts you mentioned that there's a lot of stuff starting to come out of Turkey right now.
Yeah, we were at the show in Ligna in Germany, and we actually looked at a lathe. We looked at some packaging equipment that we were kind of serious about, but we've never ventured into actually importing the stuff directly yet.
Wasn't at Vegas, wasn't the booth beside us Turkish made machines?
Right. That was a CNC router.
Yeah. Well, they had a CNC lathe too, I think.
But yeah, there were two different companies.
Program. Oh, okay.
That's the one with the funny name.
Yeah.
Dink Mac.
Yeah. I talked to that guy. He was the one with the lathe, and the router people were right beside him. So, yeah, but I mean, some of that equipment coming out of there is phenomenal.
They're saying Turkey's making nice stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of German influences.
Yeah.
And even the one Schnitzer lathe that we looked at was very heavy built, very robust machine, and had a lot of German components in it. Yeah. And the prices were pretty good.
Well, the name like Schnitzer, we kind of assumed it was German at first.
Yeah. So then you look at these machines and you're like, well, I don't recognize that name. And then Eric said, well, look at the plate. It's got to the point where you didn't recognize the name. You looked at the plate. It was made in Turkey.
See where it's from, yeah.
But, a 5-axis machine for chair parts looked just like a Bocce or a Pate.
Yeah.
I mean, looked just like. It looked like they went and bought one, took it over to Turkey, ripped it all apart, made a copy of it, and said, here, we could sell you this one cheaper.
I kind of imagine that's kind of what Ligna looked like back in the day when Taiwan started doing this.
Probably. Yeah. And these guys said that they helped them out a little bit because they wanted to put a FANUC controller on it instead of whatever they had over there, and upgraded some of the software and the way the screen worked and clamping and stuff. And he said they were very good at accommodating and putting stuff on it. So,
some of the regulations over here are a little stricter than European too, as far as safety and everything.
I'm sure, especially in their country.
Yeah.
But he said going over there was, you'd think you're going to Turkey and it's all going to be run down. He said it was great, a beautiful city, nice buildings. He said everything's really nice over there. So.
Yeah, the customers we met in Italy on this last trip had to fly through Istanbul.
Yeah.
And they said the same thing. They said the airport was amazing.
Yeah. It's very modern.
Which we took extra measures to make sure we didn't fly through Istanbul.
We stayed away from Istanbul. And they I don't know, they didn't have a problem with it. They were going back the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Him and I were like, nah, we'll go this way.
Still not an unconflicted part of the world.
That's right. That's right.
It's hard to find them nowadays.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
True.
It's true right now. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. We'll see. We're going to start doing some marketing, put the stuff on our website, and get our guys trained up on that. So you'll be installing some.
It's fine with me.
Hopefully,
start learning about some metal.
As long as get some get some training on it. I don't care. I'll do anything.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. So, Other than that, I guess everybody's been hunting, going out hunting, and
Mhm.
Eric got one with his bow, and
Yep.
John got one, right?
Right. Rifle season
Two.
was a little rough for me.
You got two
Yeah, 2 doe on the first Saturday. One
with
at,
the rifle.
yep, with rifle. What was it? One at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then the other at 4.
Jeez,
So,
you saved some for somebody else.
yeah.
You out of doe tags now?
No, I still have one.
Do you?
I got 3 for the farm. I mean, my wife's family farm. Basically, there's, I don't know, I think there was 9 of us on the first day.
Is that out west?
It's north of Tyrone, almost Phillipsburg.
Okay.
I forget the name of the actual town. It's where I shot mine was like Beccaria Township. I forget I think it's something mill. It's right by Janesville, I think.
Okay.
But they had an old cattle farm that they eventually bought some of the mining land around it, and then they just use it for hunting. And her whole family goes out there, and me by association started going.
You get to go.
But it's really nice. I mean, they hunt there.
Does Ashley hunt?
She is the only female to ever shoot a buck on that property.
Yeah.
She does not hunt anymore.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if she'd be up for going again, but yeah, she went with her dad and shot one out of the swimming hole tree, I think. All the trees have either named after whoever raised it or its location there. But I think we got total, there was 9 of us. I think 4 doe on the first day, a buck on the second, and I imagine there was another doe that day too. So, but I'm playing around with processing my own meat this year. Got a meat grinder for her
Yeah, what did you
KitchenAid
bring in
attachment.
yesterday?
Summer sausage.
It was really good. Little overcooked, he said.
Yeah,
but still
it was
good.
a little overcooked, and I don't think I got the fat ratio to down pack, but it was definitely edible. I ate a lot of it. So I don't know if I want to go out this weekend or not. I think I got like 15 pounds of grind meat I got to deal with. We just got our snack sticks kit in the mail, so
That's a lot of work for a KitchenAid.
try. It worked really well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting one of those.
It's like the grinding attachment that you lock into the front of it. I got it for Christmas, but they gave it to me early because I had deer to do. But
you cut pork in with it?
I bought 2 pound uncut bacon, so I just cubed it up. And then I went, and there's a local place around here, Rupert's, I think it's called, Montoursville. I got, I don't even remember, 7 pound of beef suet. So beef fat that I'm going to mix in for the snack sticks.
Oh, okay.
But the summer sausage was made with pork. So, yep.
Good stuff.
I got a little scale now. I can actually measure things and not just be like,
Yep.
yeah, this is good. just throw stuff in there.
Go by feel.
Getting to be a butcher over here. Huh?
You're too fancy, man. Cody and I just freaking throw it in. He
Yeah.
doesn't
It
even
was-
cut meat.
I think
cut
what
fat
the
out of
ratio I was going for was 70-30. So I would throw 7 pieces of deer in and 3 pieces. I'm not sure that's how ratios work, but that's definitely what I did.
That was yours. As long as it comes out edible, right?
Yeah, I think I just overcooked it. I think it was 160 is what the internal temp's supposed to be on it, and it was like 220. So it was definitely a little overcooked. But
Yeah.
first time, not bad. Definitely not bad. So
Oh, good. Yep. Kill them all that way so I don't have to hit them with my car. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw more last night on my way home from here than I did in the tree stand. It was disappointing, but
Laying alongside the road.
no running across the road in front of me.
Oh. As long as they stayed in front of you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if we've hit a deer yet in a company vehicle this year. Have we?
Not this
What was
year.
the other?
We
the
hit
One
one
was driving out towards
out to Wilkes-Barre.
yeah, out to
I don't know
Wilkes-Barre.
if that was last year. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
Was it last year?
They hit a deer this year.
I thought it was this year.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Honda?
they hit it with the Honda.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't
It
think so.
took us a while to hit the first one with a company vehicle.
Yeah, 2019 is when we got them. And just last year was the first, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
there was one.
I don't know
last
about your
year.
guys' cars and how often you guys hit with company cars, but service companies.
Yeah.
Well,
We've got 3 with service vans.
we've been lucky. I'm knocking on wood, everybody.
Well, I almost got a nice buck a couple months ago with the truck.
Did you accelerate or?
No, I kind of like the truck.
He dodged.
Yeah, I dodged with the Dodge.
He'd rather shoot one.
I think we've gone through more windshields in the vans than anything else.
That's because you guys tailgate.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Racing,
Bad boys.
Racing.
going,
Yeah.
Well, we
going,
gotta
going
get
across the
there and get their
GW
machines
bridge,
fixed.
pissing people off.
He was a jerk.
Somebody call in.
Oh yeah, Ashley called me and said, "What did you just do?" And I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." She goes, "Some trucker just called in, and swore up and down at me. This company sucks." Da 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 da. I said, "All I did was let somebody merge in front of me." I might have gestured towards him, but
Yeah.
That's one of the bad sides about having your name and phone number.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good thing this is on the side of
That's ever
mine.
called in, I think. So
Well, two of the guys raced in the service vans the one time. I know at least one of those guys doesn't work here anymore.
Neither one of them do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
yeah,
We had,
everyone got a stern talking to.
so Spike, the local guy that does some hauling for us, has a curtain side with our logo and our phone number and stuff on it.
Yep.
The one time he called in and he goes, "Hey, if you get a phone call about something that just happened to me, you give that guy my number."
I'll deal with it.
Is that the one that called? That's not the one that called.
I don't think so. I don't think the guy ever actually called.
That sounds like Spike.
Somebody did call about Spike.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think somebody called about Derek too one time.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I remember that story.
Yeah, that was still in the Sprinter van, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, thank God the name's not plastered on my car because the phone would be ringing off the hook. So. I don't
Especially coming home from Philly the other night, probably.
Yeah, I don't give anybody shit about any of that stuff because I'm bad. My right foot wants to get home.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Right. All right. Well, I think that's about good for today. Hope everybody enjoyed talking about Oliver and enjoyed learning about what you're going through.
Well, it's nice to be on.
Good.
Until next time.
Our Oliver Blowout Sale is still happening, and prices have been reduced even more. For more information, you can call 570-584-2002 or email us at sales@rtmachine.com. Don't forget to support our buddies at Green Street Joinery by subscribing to the American Craftman podcast and their new YouTube channel, Today's Craftsman. Both links in the description of today's podcast.